Since it's the day after Shatner Day, the radio crew decided to celebrate in style by renting a classic Perez Court Merlin and heading into the void so we can make Hutton use an outside broadcast. An old ship like this takes a lot more crew to fly it, so everyone is kept busy at one bridge station or another. Except for me. I'm sitting in a chair in the middle of everything but got nothing to do. I mean, people keep bringing me clipboards to sign. I rearrange the little plastic square things into the slots in my armchair and look around. Everything seems to be in order, so I give the command. Punch it, Juan. Computer.
You have to press the button there.
How quaint.
Our mics are live.
Captain's log. These are the voyages of the Starship Thursday Rental Budget Special. Our science officer is Wilma Fingerdew.
It is logical that you should come to me first. In engineering, we have life, but not as we know it. Mia Harkness.
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. Racist bastards. Speaking of bastards at the helm, we have Juan Kerr.
Up your shaft. If it has wings, I can fly it. This does have wings, doesn't it? On weapons, it's Normus Knockers.
Put the rapier away or I'll take it away. Your name's not Sulu, you know. Now, find me something to kill. Today is a good day to die. As long as it's not me.
And I'm Captain Balzac. Rudolph Hucker is on communications but has accidentally muted himself. He's really getting to the role too. I mean, the earrings are lovely, but did you have to squeeze yourself into the red dress? Stop the Sharon Stone routine. I realise you're behind me, but I know when you do it because I can hear the rustling. Let's move on, shall we? Here are this week's headlines.
I'm sorry, but it's true. Size is important.
Nice little earner.
Good boy. Want a biscuit? Is you want a biscuit? Yes, you do.
Out of breath, shat in her pants.
Don't be a gentleman, sausage, even if your pictures are out of sequence.
Seamless.
Seamless.
No go, Radio Farrago.
Freddie Starr ate my hauler.
All together now? That's the community.
First this evening, we're talking units. Big ones, small ones, some the size of 3. In a galaxy where we can measure everything from the microscopic to the galactic in scale, from a lightweight Sidewinder to a full fat-bellied Type 9, units are important. For millennia, humanity has adhered to a standard. The kilogram, the kilometre, the second. Sometimes we deviate to strange measurements like the stone, or the mile, or the groat, and the dime. There is, however, an ancient and universal custom of measuring things in terms of other things. Heights were measured in double-decker buses, areas in football pitches, confusing as the area of the football pitch varied depending on whether one played association football or the kind with body armour and regular bathroom breaks. Weights, always in hippos. Hutton, always striving to be unique, and in celebration of the new Colonia Bridge, more on this later, have proposed a new measuring scale for the 3300s, the SH unit, or Standard Hutton. Proposals include measuring short distances in assisted jumps, medium ones in fleet carriers, and of course the longest distance in Huttons. Though, as with the Kessel Run, one Hutton is approximately 1 hour 22 minutes in length, regardless of your speed. It's used to be pegged to 0.22 of a light year. But as the measurement changed depending on the orbit of Eden, we standardized on the time taken instead. As for mass, well, given that the mass of small things like plasma rifles, grenades, engineer materials, and of course scavenged items is now absolutely irrelevant, as you can carry as much as you like, we now measure it in sidewinders. Less than one sidewinder is considered so small as to be irrelevant. But it's 35 sidewinders to one Type 9. For galactic scale, once again, there's no point actually putting a number on things, so truckers just mark everything heavier than a Type 9 with sodding heavy and leave it at that. Apart from Dr. Madelung, who has a special button on his calculator that puts an E in the middle of numbers and can count to 21 without taking his clothes off. And then there's volume. Volume is now measured in tons, standardized by the Pilots Federation when they decided that cargo capacities of ships should be measured in identically sized units of 1 ton mass. 1 ton of feathers compressed into the same space as a 1 ton of lead. After all, when approaching a high-gravity world, how big you are doesn't matter one jot, especially as we can only fly through tenuous atmospheres. Confused? Well, if for centuries the night shift managed to use the old imperial system, the British, who used to have an empire, crossbred their old imperial system with the metric, and the Germans had a set of caliper gauges and were perfectly precise, and we still got to the moon and back without bumping into something, then the new standard Hutton measurement system should be a breeze.
There is, apparently, an unexpected result of the Colonia Bridge Project CG, which is offering fleet carriers with a substantial reduction. Now, of course, we've seen things like this in the past where ships are sold at a discount, but as always, when you come to sell them, you only get back what it cost you, not the standard value. So, where's the benefit? Well, if you were buying a hauler or an Imperial Eagle, not a lot. But with the astronomical cost for fleet carrier, a 30% discount means that you're going to have 1,500 million credits in your pocket, and you can't half buy a lot of mugs for that kind of wedge. Ne'er-do-wells have been quick to cash in on this bonanza and are preying on the gullible. Authorities have warned us to be on the lookout for someone called Arf Daly, who is apparently offering a dodgy deal where he takes your old fleet carrier in for some upgrades, whereupon he sells it and gets a full refund, then schleps over to McDonald's settlement in the Alcor system and buys one with a 30% discount. Scuffs it up a bit, claims that it's just had a respray, and that if anyone asks, you've no idea how the registration number changed.
The galaxy has given up one of its treasures this week, and our glorious leader, he of the sad eyes, droopy ears, and the bottomless stomach, has decided, as ever, that he's not going to miss out. Alva's attention has been caught by the asteroid Cleopatra. Now, Cleopatra has been known about since 1880, but what we didn't know is what shape it was. After extensive research by the University of Nothing Better to Do, Cleopatra has been extensively scanned and images show 2 lobes joined by a thick neck. And when I say 2 lobes and a thick neck, I mean the asteroid, not Banter. Upon hearing the news, Lord Alvin, catcher of dropped food and sniffer of bums, immediately sprang into action in the way that only a Cocker Spaniel can, and has ordered the immediate dispatch of an intrepid recovery team to pop across to Sol and claim the Bonio asteroid for Hutton. When I say Bonio, I mean the dog biscuit and not the mass-murdering Irish bastard from old Earth who used to kill people on the other side of the world by clicking his fingers. A crack team is setting off from Hutton as we speak. That is to say, 2 people have been sent, and I can see one of their arse cracks as they load beer into the back of their hauler. our swashbuckling heroes Augusto the Clown, and that guy who hangs around the parade shouting abuse at imaginary pigeons. And they're only going because it counts towards their community service orders. We expect big things for the expedition, but mainly we expect either a huge lump of rock that looks a bit like a dog bone to appear at Hutton, or a small explosion and an insurance bill for a hauler, or most likely an invasion fleet from the EDF because we had the barefaced temerity to set foot in the Sol system. Or maybe, just maybe, this can be our foothold in the cradle of humanity and we can join the big table of politics. I really wish we'd sent someone more competent than a psychotic, an alcoholic clown, and a madman with cabbage aroma syndrome, and a vendetta against pigeons. Fingers crossed, everyone.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Drive Assist, the only motoring news article with a wheel at each corner and two in the middle, just for good luck. I'm Jeremy Smug Basterson.
Oh, cock! I'm Juan May.
And I'm not reading that line.
What's wrong with it?
Why do I have to be the hamster? That's sizes, that's what that is.
Well, I can't be the hamster.
Hamsters? What's wrong with hamsters?
Nothing. It's just not fair. I'm always the hamster.
That's wrong, why?
Well, they're wee.
And adorable.
Well, if you put it like that, I definitely don't want to be the hamster. I mean, I'm mean and tough. I want to be named after something scary with big teeth.
How about the honey badger? You could be the honey badger.
No, that makes me sound like a Bond girl wafting about in a skimpies.
Okay. Well, what about a beaver? They're like giant hamsters.
Okay, look, I'll be the hamster, but I'm not happy about it, and you are not putting me in a big wheel.
Don't worry about that. We're sending you to space. And on that bombshell, it's on with the news article. This week we have exclusive news on the new model from Vodal.
I'll be wafting around in a classic Cobra Mark II.
And apparently, I'm being strapped to a firework and launched across the scenery.
Vodal started in the 3100s making little yellow carts that trundle around the inside of Coriolis stations. You can have any colour you like, as long as it's yellow.
But fast forward a few centuries, and the great-grandson of J.C. Bamston, founder of Vodal, decided to branch out and build something with more power.
The Scarab was born, the unholy crossbreed of a forklift truck, Charles Pull-Along toy, and a winning Paris-Dakar off-road vehicle. The Scarab, with its tubular steel chassis, six-wheel drive, corner-mounted thrusters, and 2-ton towing capacity, fast became the vehicle of choice for any explorer. Oh, and don't forget the dual repeaters.
Originally available in LX, GX, eco-friendly OMG and Turbo WTF models with a variety of trim levels, pilots could choose a velour carpet, thick shag, or even 3D printed fake walnut dash, plus string lights and bobbleheads.
But now, they've unleashed a new beast. The Scarab GTI got a bigger gun than you do. They've sacrificed the cargo space, the little cup holder, and those pointless ISO fixed points that no one ever uses, and stuck a second seat on top. Yes, the Scarab has gone 2-op.
We can't show you any pictures yet, as the Vodal executives will have my balls in a vice. But what we can tell you is that having a friend straddle your big cannon and give it the full moo whilst you're burying the throttle is an experience like no other. And now, back over to Juan.
I've ordered mine in British Racing Green, and my dash is real walnut.
Thank you, Juan. And now it's time for the hamster. Are you well strapped in?
I thought you were joking about the fireworks.
Why do you think we put that crash helmet on you? Say hi to Jupiter. Woof.
Ah! Bastards!
Oh, cock, You can't do that to the hamster. That's cruel.
He'll be fine. New feature. Star round a reasonably priced near star. Now, where's my burger? And somebody get me the producer. I feel the need to get cancelled by slapping him round the chops.
Dear God, hamster, give it a dab of Oppo, will you? Your arse is hanging out and you're leaving skid marks.
This week marks the 1285th anniversary of an important day in the history of space travel. The first time that a fictional character actually made it into space and back safely. Yes, Captain James Tiberius Kirk of the Starship Enterprise, also known as Wild Bill Shatner, was strapped to a big firework and, hang on, this is sounding a little bit too familiar.
Totally different. Your firework has Made in China written on the side of it. His said, sorry you weren't in, handwritten on it.
Oh, that's okay then. Anyway, Shatner, his 100-year mission to split infinitives, to boldly pause where no man paused before, to seek out new songs, to give the spoken word treatment, and to tweet like no one has ever tweeted before, made it up and down again, and was moved to tears. In celebration in the year 2291, said to be the year in which the fictional Kirk was in space, the Church of the Greater Spock, a rather obscure sect of the Trekkie religion, commissioned and launched a memorial designed to orbit Earth for the next 10,000 years. Due to a mix-up in the projection department over in their private holy cinema room, it appears that a Kubrick classic was spliced with the original Star Trek series, the footage from the real space launch, and a rather blue movie from the Abbott's private collection. The resulting memorial of Captain Kirk, complete with his steps in one hand, riding a giant space phallus with a smile painted on the side, has been orbiting Earth for the last few hundred years, propelled by a long-life ion engine and causing the kind of shipping hazard that keeps at least a fat man's megadom's worth of orbit clear of the debris near permanently. At some point, its orbit will either decay to the point that news outlets somewhere on the planet will have to report that a giant penis has destroyed 4 city blocks, or it will fly off into space and come yet another bizarre conversation opener with another spacefaring race when they encounter it and decide the space oddity laserdisc hidden inside.
Someone stole the Hutton radio transmitter last week. We don't know how long we'd been off the air, because the only person to complain was Commander Lenin, and he complains about everything, so we didn't pay much attention to the report. Now, if the dastardly Don had still been in the vicinity, we'd have suspected a cam or a pirate raid, but since he's off licking his wounds, we had to search elsewhere for a culprit. Had Ventura had taken it home to paint the casing a new jaunty colour? Nope. Had Psycho Cow forgotten to feed the electricity meter? Nope. Had a music lover stolen our radio in an attempt to raise the overall tone of the internet? Or was it possible, but not in this case? Having spent several days searching all over the orbital, someone finally had the brains to ask, "How do you know it's gone?" Only to hear, "Because it's not working, okay. But have you actually looked?" We sent the tech monkey down into the cellar, past the webs that are spun not by spiders, but by the sort of things that might grow in leathery eggs. Down, past row upon row of dusty bottles marked Settles Emergency Rations and Real Emergency Rations, passing the filing cabinets full of complaints sent in to the radio show, all unopened. On, right near the outer hull, where it's cold enough for simians constructed of copper and zinc alloy to be nervous, until he came to the radio server room, performed the mystic BOFH ritual for opening the door, and performed the real tech monkey magic, which he called booting it in the balls, whereupon the sleeping dragon was awakened, and once more the dubious music choices of a handful of deranged truckers could once more be beamed out into the net of the ether.
You know, it's odd. There are all kinds of strife and situations affecting the Hutton BDS during the week, but come Thursday, everything settles down, and the Master Control threat board here in the Hutton Situation Room is all blue. No adverse states, no threats, and no loo roll again! There was a moment in the middle of this week where we had no systems below 40%, not one. But that old, reliable basket case, Barnard Star, has just slipped back to 38. A conflict tying up 20% of the system's influence will resolve itself later in the week, so Hutton should see a bit of a bounce from the pair. As planned, Hutton secretly allowed 10 Fleet to win their war to go into second slot, which lays the ground for them to step into our secret trap. A plan so cunning you could pin a tail on it and call it a weasel. Sorry, but I spontaneously do that every time I touch my tash. Earlier in the week, PSPF-LF2 had what can be best described as a bit of a wobble, but recovered almost 10 points to settle on a semi-respectable 43. Pirates chanced their arm in Luyton 145-141 earlier in the week, but were last seen walking the plank in the direction of the Wooden Arm Emporium in Gamma for Natchez. At the top end of the systems league, we have 5 systems above 60%, but none over 70. The last expansion from VMS into LHS 1050 is resolving itself into a welcome 1-0 defeat for Hutton. A win is a win, folks. Talk about leaving with a minimum of fuss. Meanwhile, the Grand picked on Patriarch of Colonia, arch-victim Hanky himself, hasn't sent any notes this week, so hang on, talk amongst yourselves. Where is Colonia anyway? Priorities this week are, if you want to truck something, boost Hutton influence in Barnard Star. If you want to shoot something, have you tried clay pigeons? They don't eat much, they're quiet, none of that silly cooing, and they're much cleaner.
You can't spell community without unity, unless you're the apology officer. Personally, I think she takes fingers crossed far too literally when typing. And we're right behind commanders who organise events for everyone to enjoy. So here's this week's update on the ones that we know about. As usual, links will be posted in the Twitch chat and also in the description of the YouTube upload. It's been quiet aboard the fleet carrier Consul, paused in its journey along the 124 waypoints of the Cannon Challenge, so Commander Mephisto must have been catching up with his sleep.
Not much happened on the Caffey Cunham cruise this week, except maiming asteroids. I'm sure that should say mining, but hey, I'm just to read the shiz they write. In 12 days, Konsu's passengers mined close to 12,000 tons of tritium, with Commander G-Man 14 excelling again by delivering the bulk of it. On Tuesday, the goal to fully refuel the fleet carrier was finally reached and the journey resumed. After covering over 22,000 light years in 2 days, the cruise will arrive at waypoint 82 around the time of this radio show broadcast, and sightseeing can commence again.
The Wild Wild West expedition is definitely going in the right direction, and just before they embark on the loneliest part, Commander Analog Kid has sent us an update that we hope is not their farewell message, but out there in the unknown, who can tell. Having now reached as far west as we'd originally planned, as far as any of us thought we'd initially go, we are about to make our mark into new territory with the new great expanse still to explore and the mysteries of the void to uncover. Although nearly halfway through our journey, time is still on our side. Our next major stop will bring us alongside the DSSA Hope Dempsey to our westernmost point. The point of the journey is not to arrive. Expedition All Clouds in the Sky has had a close shave this week, probably lulled into a false sense of security by the easy run they had the week before. Commander Diluvian would like to explain how it all happened.
I woke up one day and I heard a heavy breathing sound coming from my living room. My mind was still half asleep, but I realized that this was a sound of the life support. Let it blow, I'm not getting up, I thought. Slowly adjusting to sunlight, I realized that I must have left my vessel in the mining spot. Wait, there must be some tritium on board. I jumped and managed to synthesize oxygen just a few minutes before the inevitable. 120 tons. Not much, but precious as every ton we brought to the mothership. No problem. I will engage my secondary character, Commander Ellenstar, and get it all squared away. A few minutes later, I came to the realization that Ellenstar is floating in space in some random system in the bubble. How this happened, I had no idea. I knew I would not make more jokes about Commander Kalidas Sacornia being left behind. Eventually, Commander Dracomenda gained a refueled Diluvian badge of honor and all went back to normal. On Tuesday, 12th of October 3307, the crew of the LHL-31Z Zodiac carrier finished mining and almost filled up the entire cargo hold with precious tritium. At around 2030 ZST, FSD spool was initiated and the carrier started its journey towards the next waypoint. 3 Geminorum. 41 long jumps to go. 31 days of the expedition as of today. We are moving again. But this is still a long way to go.
Commander Infernal Moose is keeping us up to date with the crossing and recrossing of the galaxy by his expedition, and even though it's achieved nearly all of its goals, it seems that it's still attractive to newcomers, as he relates in this note.
Mia.
Microphone.
Seamless.
Seamless.
The Great Galactic Circumnavigation Inferno expedition has been underway for almost 4 weeks now and has already visited 2 of the planned galactic extremes. On the westernmost system in the galaxy remains, since leaving Gebo, we have travelled over 150,000 light years on our galactic circumnavigation and visited 300 systems and 23 points of interest. An absolutely astounding 9.5 billion in exploration data has been sold to Space Scan will soon be over, the expedition carrier, since we departed. During the last week, we had an extended Starport party at Beagle Point and Bishop's Reach, where we had another celebratory group in the mass jump, as well as ship and SLF races. These ships races were both unlimited as
I can't keep this up, as well as stock sidewinder to keep things interesting. We also had team events where 32 tons of Hutton mugs were dumped on the surface and 2 teams competed to see which could gather the most while protecting their pile of collected mugs. We also met Commander Crotch Roach's carrier there, which provided another opportunity to purchase ships and modules, and joined him for a memorial service for his firefighter cousin, who sadly passed away in June. He was able to rescue Commander Binsand, who docked the wrong carrier prior to departure with very low jumping ship. After transferring it to his exploration ship, Commander Binsand flew over 17,000 light years to rejoin the expedition. The expedition was also able to rescue Commander Gregorio Cortez's carrier, the CIFC/Sostratus, at the THEUCH BRAHE Nebula this week. Diddly-doo-dah Nebula. Sostratus was suffering from extreme internal damage for explosions and fires due to a malfunctioning FSD. The crew and all remaining cargo were successfully evacuated to the expedition carrier thanks to the swift actions of the crew. Although the expedition only has approximately a week and 70,000 light years to go before arriving at Colonia, commanders are still joining us. A number of commanders joined us at Beagle Point, and Commander Darth struggling over the names this week. Commander Darth Calabric is jumping almost 60,000 light years to join us from the bubble. All are welcome for our final week.
And that's this week's summary of community-led events. If you want yours to be featured, just email itookpart@huttonorbital.com and we'll get in touch.
And that was the news. Stay tuned for chat. And then we'll have brand new Galnet News Digest, Flossy's roundup of the CG News, Hutton Sports Report, and of course, this week's adventure in Amelia Hawkland. Disney was never like this. But first...
I said we should hire professionals.
Yeah, but we didn't though, did we?
You wouldn't bloody have it, would you? Anyway, we're back on now. Mike's alive.
Your mics were alive all the way through.
So Amelia Hawkland.
Mine wasn't.
Seamless.
Yes. Amelia Hawkland, that's a very scary place to live. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I am not going to talk about the rides, because that's just going down the wrong path.
we don't talk about the rides.
We don't talk about
Nobody
the rides.
talks about the rides.
Don't mention the flume.
That slide is disturbing.
Yes.
So, this week they sent a 90-year-old overweight Canadian into space, just proving that astronaut training is completely superfluous.
Well,
They're not really astronauts.
because they just sat there. There was nothing for them to do. It's all automatic.
Self-loading cargo.
Yeah. If it had gone wrong, they wouldn't have been able to fix anything. It's just sit there and plummet to their deaths. You know,
Self-loading cargo is usually how airline pilots refer to their passengers.
it's no Apollo 13. They wouldn't have been able to cobble anything together if it went wrong. Just
If the hatch
spread
had gone, they
themselves-
could use him
well,
to seal.
you-
If the hatch had gone, they could use him to seal the hatch. You know?
So it's amazing what you can do with an incontinence bag.
That's no way to talk about him. That
And
man's
some rubber
90 now.
pants.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Imagine what Apollo 13 could have managed with all that.
Yeah.
it's just taking the piss. Now stop it. What? What'd I say?
Well,
They've managed that. Monks are still looking
some of
for
us
this.
are closer to it than others.
Did you? Comfort, mate. Comfort. I don't need to move.
Tell me about
How do you think I make it through an entire show?
See.
Well, with only 54 minutes last week.
Yes. Yeah.
Hang on to it for that long.
Yeah, I had to-
One of the seals was leaking.
Yeah, I should rush last week. I sort of cut half the script out. Yes.
You got to have a tight seal.
Yep. Well,
Said Wally the Walrus.
I think, talking of Elite Dangerous, as we were.
What?
I-
Oh, that.
Back to Earth. Oh,
do you
no,
think-
sorry.
Do you think we're in a very quiet week, frontier-wise, as they get everything ready for Update 8? Because there wasn't much happening with the streams this week, was there?
Well, there was quite a squeak of hamster wheels, but yes, there wasn't a lot. I mean, you saw the community highlights on Tuesday with Arf and Sally, but Arf sort of opened with, well, there's no news as such. Oh, great. That's going to be fun.
There's news as such, but we're going to plough on for an hour anyway.
Well, I know he's Arf's
But that's
a
hot news.
gamer, so
Yeah.
but he could sort of hide his zeal to get to the
Yeah, but
gaming
that's-
bit. Like,
that's
come on,
Hutton
can you
news.
make it last 20 minutes?
But that's Hutton news every week.
Well, I don't know. Some weeks, the week they troll ad nauseum through the issues list is,
Yeah.
it's not.
Is
Anyway,
that a highlight for you?
not really. I kind of play the game while it's on in the background. So
Yeah.
I don't look at the list. I just listen to them. But some nice Commander creations this week. Some nice videos, and Beetlejude was there again.
She was, yes.
Well, not in person, but her artwork was.
Original artwork.
Yeah, although she was. Oh, we didn't do the lore live stream last Thursday, did we? We kind of touched on it, but it was happening as the show went live. So
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
but it was good. Crispy tater tot of very own Galnet News Digest. I was going to say newsreaders, but
Yeah, I was going to say whatever you call them.
I thought they were very good. I was particularly
Yes.
impressed by Wotherspoon's knowledge of the lore. I mean,
Yeah, unlike us, he doesn't just make shit up,
I know he knows it properly, didn't he?
You bastard! That took me 15 minutes to write that article.
Do you know it's the difference between knowing your shit and knowing your shit?
Yes. I know, I'm shit.
He was.
Well, I am.
They're doing fish, yes. You see,
Aye.
Robbie, try the fish.
Somebody going to do "I am the law" joke then?
No.
No.
No, he was very good. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
All the detail. He learned some stuff. I mean, he swapped these things up. So anyway, yes, there was even the last bit of Commander Creations. There was even a Lego crate.
Oh,
Crate
yeah, I
of
saw the
Lego.
Lego crate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. It was all right. It was a bit small, but it was cute. It was good. It was
Yeah, well, it wasn't 1-on-1 scale, you know, but
no. But Lego tends not to be, does it?
Yeah.
Or it gets a bit dull.
yeah. But they seemed to think it was, you know, the guys who put it on seemed to think it was very nice, and I thought it was good.
And after 15 minutes of all that, Arf dived straight in and did some combat somewhere, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Which is what they're doing. Today's stream was CQC, wasn't it?
Tonight was a
Horizons.
CQC night. Yeah, it was.
So a bit of tumbleweed on the live stream front this week, although it was what little there was enjoyable.
Yeah, we did get one very important piece of news, and that was that Update 8 is still on track for next week.
Well, he did sort of preface it saying, well, it's next week, but, you know.
Yeah. Oh, they never said when next
kind
week.
of stuff happens.
But they've told you it was going to be next week, and it's still next week. So,
And I can't blame them for not doing very much material this week, because if they do that, the salt mines will be open and people will start saying, well, what about this? What about that? No, I've told you we're not discussing it. You know,
It's like I always used to tell my clients that the project would be finished by Christmas. I never just add
which year.
Yeah.
Yes, quite. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think there's nothing else. You'll be able to stick several fingers up at people.
I hope they put the, you know, when you get interdicted, I hope they put the bars and the
Oh,
target
yeah.
rate. Oh, my lordy. I mean, I've been
That was
running a
difficult,
lot
that.
of missions the past couple of weeks, and God, I've been interdicted like 3 times an hour, and it's like, you have to be really good without the, you know, like, especially in Anaconda, you get interdicted by Anaconda, and it goes on forever.
How do you even know where you're going?
Well,
How
you
do
can
know
see
the escape vector?
Just have
you
to
can
use
see
the
the escape vector, but
escape
that's all you
vector.
can see.
Oh, okay.
Kind of makes it exciting, but you
Yeah.
know, but you've got no idea
Idea.
when it's gonna end.
Yeah.
I'm
that's-
yanking around
You
on
don't know
this
how he's doing.
stick, I'm pulling it this way and I'm pulling it that way, and I've
I
got
bet
no
you are.
idea when it's going to be over.
Yeah,
Very
no,
soon.
No, that was going to Mrs. No, that's not. That's no, we're not
Stop
going down
it,
there.
yeah.
We're not going down
Am I
there.
winning
Well,
or losing?
yes, yes, probably both.
That's
So,
like
yeah.
that Commander Hardy. He's pulling on my stick now.
Yes,
No,
yeah, we heard that. Yeah, it's got a stiffer spring now. Yeah.
Oh,
Stuff and everything now.
he's stiffened it up, has he? Oh, He is a bit old and a bit floppy, but you know,
Yeah.
he got you to where you needed to be.
Yeah,
Got the job done.
as it does. Yes, I've got something here. A couple of the truckers, commanders Ed Hunter and Nemb, or NEMB, 31 years wedding anniversary this week.
Yeah.
Yay.
Congratulations to them.
You know, you
Of
can
course
be. You can be. What's life these years? It's like 14 years or something. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, she could have been it a long time ago.
You're very brave
Yeah,
saying that
so-
when your other half's out the room. You know,
Of course, you know
I can
what
tell she
NEMS
is out of the room because it'd be like that otherwise.
You know what NEM stands for, don't you?
nasty evil.
Yes.
Nasty.
I don't know what's the
evil-minded
M.
Bitch. M is
M.
minded. Nasty, evil-minded bitch.
Well, that's hyphenated,
Yeah.
so it should just be NEB then. It's hyphenated. Oh dear.
I thought it was
No,
menopausal, but
No. So nasty, evil-minded bitch. I mean, he lives in fear, and for good reason.
is that near Cheshunt somewhere?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, I used to.
Can you get to it on the Metropolitan line?
It's a
I used to
small
work at
village, you
Cheshunt.
get- Yeah.
When I used to work for a
Tesco.
certain, yeah,
Tesco.
Tesco. Yeah, yeah. All those buildings are
Every
pulled down now.
level.
No, it's all coming back now. Took down memory tube line.
Yeah, well, that's been
Okay.
exciting for the listener then. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Got palpitations.
I'd say it is a quiet week for news, as you
pass them
probably
round,
guessed.
they sound nice.
Probably guessed, and last week too, from the subjects that we picked.
Yeah.
We can always tell because there's a kind of an appeal goes out on,
Yes.
on
Yeah.
Galbook for anybody got any news?
Because we've got.
Please send me a
fuck
story.
all.
News, get your news. It's like get your news
Anything.
here. It's like no, we're not selling it. We're buying.
Anything.
We're buying news.
Yeah. Yeah.
Top prices offered.
Yeah. Yeah. Want to buy some news?
But-
You know.
But I like the story about the dog bone asteroid,
Cleopatra,
with a
that was
K.
good.
Yeah,
See, news
like
is
that.
there if
That
you know
was-
where to look.
yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. And lots of pictures of it on the interwebs. So
It's,
yeah, it looks very
it's
cool.
like, what was it, Cherasimov 67, the one that looked like a rubber duck.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
What?
I haven't seen the rubber duck.
Come on, we landed little Philae onto it.
Oh,
like
that
3
thing.
years.
That
Yeah.
didn't look like a rubber duck.
That did look like a rubber duck. I don't know what your rubber duck looks like.
How
It
drunk?
looks like
How
mine.
drunk were you,
Mr. Ducky will be offended.
Mr. Ducky's?
Mr. Wibble.
Millions of miles away
There's
in
one-
space. In
I
fact,
can't remember
a
the
couple
name of it.
billion.
There's one out in the not the Oort cloud, the other one.
Solar system.
No, well, no, in the somebody will post it in the chat.
Kuiper belt.
Kuiper belt, that's the one. Thank you. That looks like a snowman.
The
So
Kuiper
obviously-
belt, that would be some sort of liqueur, wouldn't it? You know.
So obviously,
I think
we have
these
a
are like-
Bonio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So these things obviously orbit each other, and then somehow they become stuck together to form sort of recognizable.
Yeah. And they keep sticking together and
keep
sticking
sticking-
together.
they-
And
Galactic
after
Lego.
a certain size,
Yeah,
they've got to become
yeah.
planetoid-like.
Well, yeah, but they see what happened to Pluto, and they go, "Oh, why do we bother?"
Yeah.
Yeah. But Pluto
you
doesn't
know,
get to be a planet.
You make
Plu-
it, and then they knock you down.
Pluto's a planet. Don't care what
Pluto's
you
a
say.
dog, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. He's probably looking for that Bonio.
Right, sounds like it's time for something that has 4 toes in the front feet and 5 toes in the back feet, and they're not from Norfolk.
no. Do you know what? Do you know what? One particular example of something with 4 toes on the front feet and 5 toes on the back feet is?
A dog.
Well, no, only if you've sewn extra toes
No
on.
idea.
I think. Well, I found this in 101 interesting facts about the aardvark.
Aardvark!
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 Aardvark.
Aardvark's from Norfolk.
No, there aren't 101 interesting things about Norfolk.
League of Norfolk Bakers.
Right. Stop.
Inbred for 100 years.
Oh, God.
As we wave goodbye to the newsreaders, remembering to use the correct number of fingers, it's time for the rest of the entertainment. Courtesy of us,
When the universe is in trouble, bug infestations in the bubble, your home station's burned rubble. What on earth can we do when your faction leader's a dog and your daily tasks are a slog? You're feeling like a used cog. What on earth can we do now? Interstellar initiatives. Let Flossy tell you what it is. Then you can get involved with this. You should listen to what Flossy says. Interstellar initiatives. Flossy tells us what she thinks it is. Then you can get involved with this. Now you should listen to what Flossy says. Listen to what Flossy says. What on earth can we do? Do what Flossy tells you to. What if she talks nonsense? Interstellar initiatives. Let Flossy tell you what it is. Then you can get involved with this. You should listen to what Flossy says. Now we've heard what Flossy said. We can put this matter to bed. Just keep her voice in your head. Flossy told you what to do.
Hello, Flossy here with this week's Community Goals News. Last week's CGs both ended successfully reaching Tier 5. This means there will be 30 dockable megaships built between Alcor and Colonia by the 28th of October. Also, as both CGs reach Tier 5, there will be a full 30% discount on buying new fleet carriers and on outfitting them. There are no new CGs this week. Possibly they're busy with other things. But there is a Pilots Federation alert on Galnet which may be of interest. Rewards are being offered by Orion University to locate the Scrivener's Clan dredger, which it claims is its legal property. The self-sustaining dredger-class bulk cruiser was launched 2 centuries ago by an academic institute that was later absorbed by the university. Since the dredger has become the home for a nomadic tribe called the Scrivener's Clan, which refuses contact with all outsiders. Vice-Chancellor Leland Pettigrew told the media, Orion University is willing to reward pilots who can pinpoint the dredger's current location. We believe it is still within 500 light-years of the Perseus Dark Region KC-V C2-2 system. Pilots who are interested in helping should first dock at Ring Mine Station in the 2-mass J03291977 plus 3124572 system. That's a mouthful. To automatically sign up to the search operation. Our associates at the Starport Deep Space Mining will provide further information, including details of the reward. And that's it for this week's CG News.
Flossy told you what to do.
Thank you, Flossy. Now it's time for the intellectual bit. Commander Beetlejude, who's a big noise in the art world, and Commander Witherspoon, who's a big knob at Galnet, will entertain and educate us as they pour the products of their digestion into your ears. It's the Galnet News Digest.
Colonia, a history. With the outstanding success of Phase 1 of the Colonia Bridge project, and with Colonia getting ever easier to get to from the bubble, it's perhaps a good time to look back on the history of this tiny outpost near the centre of the galaxy. In February 3301, the legendary Jacques Station and its even more legendary barman, also called Jacques, returned to the galaxy, having set out many years ago to discover new beverages, explore distant stars, and bravely go where no starport had been before. The station had jumped into obscurity, and it was a delight to hear of its return when it was discovered in HIP 110-620, and a week later in HIP 110-079. For a while, Jacques' peripatetic station jumped around the bubble, but the barman was inspired by the distant world's expedition of 3302 to attempt the longest ever jump from Gliese 1269 to Beagle Point, a distance well in excess of 60,000 light-years. And in a starport too. The fuel rats organised the effort to load the station with enough fuel, and it might well have worked with a permanent station installed at Beagle Point, had it not been for those meddling UA bombers. The recently discovered unidentified artefacts, or Thargoid sensors as they are now known, used to be capable of severely damaging stations, shutting down services and causing all sorts of mayhem. And of course, where there's mischief to be had, there are folk willing to perpetrate such mischief. A welcoming party of explorers remained at Beagle Point, waiting for the station to make its historic jump. A footnote, in the Galnet News report of 20th of May, stating that Jacques Station, Inglis 1269, was currently closed due to UA bombing, should perhaps have served as a warning. When the station jumped the following day, its absence at its supposed destination, Beagle Point, was noticed pretty quickly. As the week went on, it became clear that the station had misjumped, but it was unclear what fate had befallen it. Had it disintegrated? Had it been lost in hyperspace? Or had it crashed out safely somewhere along the route? If the latter, then where was it? 2 weeks after the mishap, a garbled message was picked up, suggesting that the station remained intact. It was not possible to trace the source of the message. And then, far quicker than could have been hoped, on the 29th of June, Jacques Station was found by Commander Cly in the Eol-Prow RS-T D3-94 system. All services remained shut down due to unknown artefact interference, but the station was in one piece. Jacques explained that stresses in witch space and the simultaneous failure of the drive engines, the navigation systems, and the power distributor meant that he'd been given no choice but to make an emergency drop. He also admitted that attempting to jump as far as Beagle Point was probably a mistake, and said that with the structural damage his station had incurred, it was extremely unlikely that it would make any more jumps, at least for the foreseeable future. A number of commanders banded together to take meta-alloys from Maya all the way out to the stricken starport to try to bring it back to life. Because of the distance, most of the rescue convoy consisted of asp explorers with a typical cargo of 16 tons or less. As the station slowly came back to life and as its services became usable, a number of commanders decided to remain out in Eol-Prow RS-T D3-94. This was the moment Colonia was founded. By the beginning of August, Jacques Station was operational. The Jaunt to Jacques brought 300 more colonists to the region, and a start was made creating Colonia's first surface base, quickly followed by plans for a fuel rats outpost and a second outpost by the so-called Colonia Initiative. By mid-August, Jacques Station had a shipyard, and it became possible to be based permanently in Colonia. The region was mapped, and yet another wave of colonists arrived in the region at the end of the August exodus. Then, in September, the Colonia Connection Initiative was the first attempt to create a series of bases along the route between the bubble and Colonia. 6 surface outposts were constructed. The invention of neutron supercharging in September 3302 made travelling to Colonia much quicker using the so-called neutron highways. It was in Colonia that non-sentient alien life was first discovered, on Colonia 3CA. Thousands of species have since been discovered, but Colonia is where exobiology first got off the ground, in October 3302. And it was in December of that year that Commander Alit Nil demonstrated that it was possible to fly all the way from the bubble to Colonia without a fuel scoop, although the fuel rats recommend that other commanders do not attempt to replicate this stunt. The Christmas Carriers Convoy made its first seasonal trip to Colonia in 3302, taking food, equipment and settlers to the new worlds of the region, and then in December 3302 and for the next 6 months, Colonia staged a series of competitive events to select the best, most competitive factions to establish their own bases in the systems around Colonia. This Colonia Expansion Initiative eventually led to tens of new factions and new bases established in the region. A number of unofficial bases were also established by pirates and smugglers and remained despite the Colonia Council's attempts to clear them up. In August 3303, the second initiative to build stepping stones to Colonia, the Path to Colonia, created 3 starports along the route. Colonia had matured to the point where it almost seemed like a mini bubble, not significantly different from the big bubble, although with much brighter stars in the sky. In February 3304, the galactic community came to the aid of the megaship Dove Enigma, which had been UA bombed, in time to allow the Enigma expedition to arrive there safely. It was this incident that eventually led to the development of advanced meta-alloy technology, making stations, starports and megaships effectively immune from the effects of Thargoid sensors. In June 3304, investor Zachary Rackham heard of the lack of shipyards in Colonia and of how this prevented the new factions from being based at the surface bases they created as part of the Colonia Expansion Initiative. Rackham funded the provisioning of these now much-needed station services, completing yet another piece of the puzzle that turned Colonia into a home. In June 3304, an initiative concluded to establish a research base. Due to organisational mix-ups, the base is not built until the end of 3305. The base didn't expand into research outpost until early 3307. The first 4 engineers, Mel Brandon, Petra Almanova, Marsha Hicks and Etienne Dawn, known as the Body Snatcher of Colonia, moved into Colonia that August. The next wave of engineers are expected there in October 3307. Archon Delane built a starport in Eol Prow PC-K C9-91 near Colonia in April 3307. And finally, for now, in October 3307, the Colonia Bridge Project seems set to create enough megaships that the trip from the bubble to Colonia will now seem more like driving along a busy highway than exploring deep space. Colonia has at last become not a pale imitation of the bubble, but the distant part of the bubble.
Thank you, Commanders Beetlejude and Wotherspoon. Never a chore, always, well, something else. Talking of something else, I'm pleased to hand over to Mia Harkness with the sports report.
What? Anyway, welcome to this week's Hutton Sports Report. The Hutton Sports Report is sponsored by the Hutton Helper, the only third-party resource to come with a free double CD, now that's what I call Update 7, with all your favourite Update 7 classics on there. This week we have the following events. The Will I Get a Bike in Update 8 special, the Can I Have a Pony in Update 8 Sad Eyes Trophy, the Is Update 9 in Update 8 Challenge Cup, the Is the Panther Clipper in Update 8? It is, isn't it? It's the Panther Clipper Sprint. The Are Earth-like worlds with cities and farms and dinosaurs and shops and sea monsters and pirates and zombies and working toilets in Update 8 Pro-Am Tournament. And the How about those two-seater SRVs? They've got to be an Update 8 challenge. So, dare to dream, keep reaching for the stars, and always demand the impossible. The classified results are Zebedian, 51. Micro T, 28. Light 027, 82. Zen Industries, 78. Chicks,
What?
704. What? Oh, no,
What?
back to sleep. Back to
sorry.
sleep. It's okay. It's okay. Chicks, 704. Bograt, 122. Alex Zuno, 4,444,444,444. Attic 2, 165. Janix, 344. Surface Detail, 281. Mega Boomtastic, 937. M Grey, 56. Montrose, 2. Adrionians, 3. Partick Thistle, 1. Stenhouse Muir, 3. Colonia Colons, 1. Tier Terriers, 2. Beagle Point Beagles, 2. Bishop's Reach Arounds, 2. So, decal there for Zen Industries and Surface Detail. Please email itookpart@huttonorbital.com and arrange to collect your Hut decal kit, which this week consists of an Update 8 revamped Hutton decal transfer sticker and a pat in the back. So, there have been 3 Hutton runs this week. Socrates Ectoplasm is back with a blisteringly fast time of 1 hour, 22 minutes and 34 seconds. That's just 14 seconds off the record and puts them in 5th place overall. Ka Dargo recorded a time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, 33 seconds for a very respectable 42nd place. Our 3rd run this week was from current record holder Commander Hardy, who got a time of 1 hour, 23 minutes and 34 seconds. So they would be in 44th place if they weren't already in 1st. So, is your ass making buttons waiting for update 8 to drop? Do you lie awake ironically thinking about all the things you dreamed would be in update 8? Have you gone out to the shed to talk to your life-size cardboard cutout of Councillor Deanna Troy about update day because everyone is fed up with you and Deanna is the only one who ever understood you anyway? I think you need a distraction, and I have just the thing. If you go to hot.forthemug.com and download a sign up for the Hutton Helper, you can go out and do lots of elite stuff to distract yourself, and we can discuss them in next week's sports report. Let's face it, anything has to be better than trying to get a wharf cut out to empathise with you. Well, that's it for this week. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Mia. And coincidentally, score draws is what I call my lucky underwear. Time for a change of pace now as we extend our gratitude to Amelia Hawke for the perils and predicaments that she undergoes on our behalf and for the Galnet Rares Digest.
Good evening. This is Amelia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest. We try all the galaxy's rarest and most dangerous commodities, so you don't have to. Bento. I remember Bento. Were you there in 3305 when we trucked bulls? There was even a #1 novelty hit by Serco Cow. Dusty bento balls? Put 'em in your asp and truck 'em? I'm not being rude, I promise. The balls in question are crystalline spheres from Snow Moon in the bento system. And Hutton truckers took them in convoy to Gaywen while being pursued by pirates. No? Vantian forgot his fuel scoop and got stranded? Yeah, that one. The one where you laughed so hard that gin came down your nose. Well, tonight I'm back in Bento to take a closer look at these spheres. Not a direct look, you understand. There are some issues with that. The system itself is small, tiny in fact. Besides the Class G star, there are only 3 planets. The first is a Class 3 gas giant. Bland, dull, and uneventful. So much so that the survey team who discovered the system back in 3186 couldn't be bothered to name it properly, and so it became GJ86b. Gas giant, spelt with a J, discovered in 3186, blue in colour. Obviously they couldn't be bothered to spell it properly either. Sometimes it's quality which counts rather than quantity, and I think the survey team can be forgiven for rushing past GJ86b to get to the Earth-like world of Macanucci, with its Earth-like moon Kyaraben, where our spheres come from. Snow Moon, well, as it turns out, that's no moon. Did you get it? Despite the name, it's actually an Orbis starport where the spheres are processed and made safe for shipping. The spheres themselves are a solid ball, some 6 inches in diameter, clear with facets inside which catch the light and reflect it endlessly. Small imperfections inside show up white and give the impression of snow moving within. And every once in a while a spark flashes across your field of view like a shooting star. There are colours in there that we don't have names for, and I'm told that the vid screen I'm looking at doesn't even begin to do them justice. I'm embedded, with a team of harvesters who are headed to the surface. They look pretty well armed, which seems strange for pickers, so I asked Captain Gunnarsson about what's going on. She explains that the spheres aren't naturally occurring, but instead are polished into spheres by one of the planet's indigenous life forms. Well, essentially it's a big predatory sloth, she tells me. They hunt in the polar ice forests and are incredibly vicious, but being sloths are too slow to really catch anything. That's where the crystalline spheres come in. A sloth will start by finding a raw crystal which it starts to polish by rubbing it against a hard icy surface. The process of shaping the crystal can take generations. These are sloths, after all. Once the crystals are ready, the sloths take them to a spot in the forest where other spheres have already been placed and lay theirs with the others, either up on the branches of trees or near bushes. The sloths will then hide and wait for creatures of the forest to wander into the clearing and become transfixed by the spheres. This gives the hunters time to close on their prey and deliver a killing blow. It's the only way that something as slow as these animals can survive. Well, it's either that or go vegan, so, We're on the surface now and everyone is gearing up. We are in the northern polar region, so it's really cold. Not cold enough to freeze the air in your lungs, but cold enough to make the tips of your ears sting if you don't wear a woolly hat. And the forest is beautiful. The trees are purest white, tall and graceful looking with snow piled on their branches. The canopy above us and the snow around us have a strange effect on sound, lending an air of calm and serenity to the place. The rising sun shows us flashes of purples, pinks, deep oranges, and warming yellows through the trunks of the forest as a new day begins on Kyaraben. I am handed a funny visor thing with a heads-up display to wear. The image is black and white and really grainy. For those of you who have visited the Sir Clive Sinclair Museum at Sinclair Base in Tyr, it's very much like the ZX81 display there. It's also the only place I ever saw a Sinclair T5 transporter, which was created by the great man's 12th times great-grandson Bernard Sinclair. As you can imagine, what I see through the visor is a bit of a letdown after what I've just seen in the forest, but I'm assured it's essential, so I wear it. And that is because of the very real danger. The thing is, well, the crystalline spheres are pretty. Really pretty. You might say hypnotically pretty. It's not just animals that are affected by the sight. They are prized by monasteries and retreats across the bubble as a meditative aid, where they have to be stored in sealed boxes with a timer on the side. Without it, you would just stare into the depths, ignoring the protests of your friends and your body, well, until you wasted away and died. We're at the clearing now, and I can see the spheres glistening and blazing in the sunlight. Well, I'm sure they would be if I wasn't looking at them through this bloody visor. You know what? I'm going to wait until no one's looking and take a sneak peek. In the interests of journalism, of course. Right, now's my chance. I'll just lift this a little bit and... Wow. Just... wow. This place is like nothing I've ever seen in my life. And I've just had some I've had some potent mind-altering substances in my time. I go to take a step forward, but my foot brushes something and I fall in the snow. Oh, it's one of those spheres. It's brighter than I thought. The snow inside. Like looking into eternity.
Get her out of here!
No, I want to look at the pretty... No! Wait, why were there bagpipes? What's going on? Oh my god! Captain Gunnarsson has lost an arm. We're safely back on board the shuttle now. No one is talking and Gunnarsson has given me the stink eye. It seems that while I was distracted, one of the sloths decided that it would make a nice family dinner. The others had to get me away while chasing the creature away using the only thing it's known to be afraid of. Bagpipes. Something about the tonal qualities. I don't know bagpipes had tonal qualities. Well, any qualities, but there you go. Anyway, I'm Amelia Hawke, reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest. Captain Gunnarsson lost an arm today, so you don't have to.
Oh, wow. Did you ever hear what happened to him?
No. Went straight into the medical centre as soon as we could. That was it. Never saw her again.
Oh, well.
She'll have a cyber arm or something, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
She must
build a better, stronger, faster. Well, not with just an arm, but yeah, maybe they tore a leg off as well to help.
I'm sure she's fine.
I don't think she'd go down for visiting us, though.
No, she probably won't write you a letter if it was a writing arm.
Yeah, she'd probably use her new arm to punch you in the face.
Is this built
I'm
by
hoping we
Banter?
never meet again.
Yeah. Awkward.
So, anyway, bento balls. Who remembers the bento balls?
Balls.
Two and a bit
Dusty
years
bento
ago.
balls.
Dusty
Was
bento
it
balls.
long as that? Wow.
It was two and a bit years ago. It was, yeah.
Yeah, 3305. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. Just seems like yesterday.
And it was a good convoy, wasn't it? And like the original Hutton Mug CG being chased by pirates. It was a PvP. Pirates are coming in. That was fun.
I remember I was in Rampage's Rampant Rabbit Squadron.
Yes.
Do we still
Got killed a few
have
times.
that song by Psycho Cow?
We do, and in fact,
Which one? You just lost.
well, there's one coming up straight after this, just as a sort of wind down for the show. I have it all queued up,
nice.
ready. I've got it on the 33, and I've wound up the handle on the side of the gramophone.
Nice.
Oh, you brought out the gramophone.
The gramophone.
Put a fresh
check
needle
stuff.
in. Yes, put fresh
Ooh.
needle in.
Must be
Gosh.
must be a new
We're getting all
gramophone. If it
swanky
takes-
now.
Yeah. If it takes 33s, it must be a new one.
Well, yeah, as opposed to the old, there were
78s,
60,
yeah.
78s and 16s. There were 16 and something.
16s.
Yeah.
jeez.
Yes.
You remember
know-
them, do you?
You know that the new needle's not going to make Psycho Cow sound any better.
Yeah.
He's got a wonderful singing
Ooh,
voice.
sounds
I've never heard him
good.
use it, but I know he's got a wonderful singing voice.
Take that
He
big horn
has.
thing off the top of it. That'll make him sound better.
So, go on, let's do that. Let's listen to the song before we wind up. Here we go.
Before we slag it off.
Sings great.
A new order from our leader. He would like to dance tonight. He needs some help with disco balls. It's time to fill your ship, baby. The party is starting soon. Plot in a cost to Bento and up there at Snow Moon. Say, every truck, if you got some balls, they're dusty dancing around. If you really want to help Alvin out, then truck those balls in your hold. Ooh, truck us some dusty Bento balls. Stick them in your ass grasping truck 'em. Truck us some dusty bento balls. They're shiny white balls that make you move. So truck us some balls. 10 wings of Hutton truckers and some good protection too. Don't forget to invite fuel rats and just a pirate or two. Get them all in a convoy, 'cause I hate when balls go splat. Then set the course for Cubicle 3 and get those balls into me. Say every truck if you got some balls that dusty dancing around. If you really want to help it out, then truck those balls in your hole. Tuck off some dusty bento balls. Stick them in your hole and truck them. Truck us some dusty bento balls. They're liquid filled, jiggling, giggling, giggling globes. So truck us some balls. Hey, wait a minute. What's that smell? That smells like Megagen. Ah, well, that don't bother me none. Long as I get my balls delivered. Truckers, I gotta get back to Bando. 'Cause I think I got trouble. Oh, man. Cecil, baby, you just ejected my balls! Help me! My balls went splat! Help me, Cecil! My balls, they're sparking! Give me some limpets! Eject a heat sink on me! My balls, they're exploding! Oh my goodness! Spin at them! Blow on them! Do something! Truck us some dusty bando balls. Stick them in your hole and truck them with fire, baby! Truck us some dusty bando balls. Blow them out! Oh, they're burning! No! My balls are burning! Truck us some balls! Truck us some big fat liquid-filled lead-lined dusty bento balls. Mother truckers.
Well, how about that then? Wasn't that fun? And brings back so many memories.
Yay!
Yeah.
I was going to say no, but it was.
Yay!
It was.
Yay!
Yay!
Well done to the fabulous
My
Psycho
voice
Cat
is
for
not
that.
breaking
Yep.
at all.
No.
Yeah,
I know it's very emotional, isn't it? It really gives you
Yeah,
feels.
it sticks in your craw.
Yeah.
Gets you right in the somethings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was fun. It's nice to pull those songs out every so often.
Teeth.
I think. Yeah. It's not pulling teeth out. No. Much more fun. Okay. And do we have anything else that we want to bore the listeners with?
No, not unless anybody wants to talk about 7-pin dins versus 9-pin dins.
What's a pinned in?
It's a kind of
Plug.
plug, I think. Yep.
We had this conversation a month
Oh,
ago.
you've bloody
Yeah.
started.
I don't.
You did that on purpose. I know you did.
One's with video and
What?
one's with audio.
Yeah.
That's when no one was here.
So, right, that's yes, I know. Yeah, that's subject's done. We've done that one. All right. Is there anybody got a reason for me not to press this button here?
Press the button.
Press the button.
Don't hang on.
I will.
I
He's just
go,
taking
let me
this
get
here.
rid of
Hang on. He's doing the Amelia.
For the mug!
For the mug!
No journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the T-9s to the brim with grain. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. seems to crash into the sun. Swivel likes the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the front, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody yell. Father Mac, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. Father Mac, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. Father Mac, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. Father Mac, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. To go cruising to Hutton. Whoa, no journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud like you don't even care. Father Mac, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. Father Mac, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. Father Mac, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. Father Mac, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. Everyone's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too?
Seamless.